Muy buenas tardes a todos. En nombre de Suprema Qualitas, les doy la más cordial bienvenida a esta charla virtual Estrategia, Competitividad y Productividad. Esta charla forma parte de nuestra iniciativa Tour de la Calidad 2011. Les invitamos a visitarnos y a que nos siga a través de Facebook, de Twitter o que acceda a nuestra página web squalitas.com o qualitytrends.squalitas.com. El instructor de esta charla virtual, Estrategia, Productividad y Competitividad, es el señor Wayne Johnson. Wayne Johnson cuenta con una licenciatura de Ciencias en Gestión Técnica, especializado en gestión de operaciones, es un administrador experimentado en gestión de la producción, gestión de proyectos y gestión de la calidad. Tiene amplia experiencia en el análisis de procesos y análisis de causa raíz, con experiencia en formación y desarrollo. Ha desarrollado planificación organizativa y estratégica tanto en el sector gobierno como privado. El señor Johnson ha proporcionado la gestión de proveedores y desarrollo de procesos logísticos, ha escrito manuales de procedimientos para la Organización Internacional de Normalización, ISO, para certificación de fabricantes de cables, empresas textiles y para fabricantes de rodamientos. Ha sido presentador clave para la sección 1128 de la ASQ, organizando diversos eventos en normas de calidad para dicha sección. Es además miembro del PMI. Entre nuestros servicios de excelencia del negocio, provistos por el señor Wayne Johnson a través de Suprema Qualitas, están la gestión efectiva del cambio, el desarrollo de planes de acción, desarrollo de equipos, desarrollo gerencial efectivo, gestión de la cadena de suministros. Para tener más información sobre cualquiera de estos servicios, pueden comunicarse conmigo a través de cualquiera de los contactos que figuran en pantalla. Sin más por el momento y agradeciéndoles por su atención, les dejo con el instructor de esta charla, Wayne Johnson.
Good afternoon, everyone. How are you? I want to cover strategy, productivity, and competitiveness. Got it. Okay. Strategy, productivity, and competitiveness are important in any organization, especially as you begin to move forward, and your goal is to seek a strategy that will make you more productive and make your competitors less productive, or at least to seem less productive. Basic concepts for creating strategic opportunities: cost, risk, effort, and anything that goes beyond the mission that you've set for your company. The mission and your mission statement make your company more essential as you move forward. The reason for the existence of the organization is listed in your mission statement. Why do we exist? Why are we moving forward? Why do we want to have the product we're making? Then we set our goals to match that product. Our product is going forward. Our product is moving backwards. We want to put the product into a market that is going to make it seem that your buyer wants the product. That's what we want to stress. We want to stress on our buyer. The business that you choose to enter has to have a demand. It is a must. Once you do your market analysis, once you perform all of your intake data analysis and research, you will find that your business is ready to meet the demand of your customer. But not only are you meeting your customer's demand, you're exceeding their expectations. And the way we exceed their expectations is to provide a product that goes beyond what they expect to pick up once they grasp the product. Tangible or intangible does not matter. It matters what they perceive the product to be. We do this by doing a SWOT analysis. We seek our strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats within the organization. Our threats being competition. Our threats being material constraints. Our threats being how difficult is it going to be to put a new product into production. The opportunities address themselves by how well we can get the product onto the market. If there's a high demand for the product, can we beat our competition and get the product out there first? Weaknesses, internal, external. There's always both. Your internal weaknesses are management, how well management can govern their employees, and how well your employees react to the management. Works the same for your strengths. Your strengths are how well your organization can adapt to changes, meet expectations, close gaps, and address internal issues, as well as external issues. External issues can be suppliers, it can be materials, it can be transportation, or even your employees getting to work. Many factors are considered when you do a SWOT analysis. Another consideration for SWOT analysis is addressing your competition. What are their strengths? What are their weaknesses? What are their opportunities and what are their threats? Well, obviously, your company is one of their threats, and you want to stay there. Strategies versus the mission. Strategies must be measured by the mission. Once you do your SWOT analysis and you've done all the correct paperwork and you have everything in place, what's to say it's accurate? We want critical success factors, not critical failures. When we address SWOT, we want all of the information to come forth in a way that not only do we understand it as managers, but our employees who are doing the work understand what is expected of them. The company is driven by those that produce the work. Without those producing the work, the company cannot grow, and growth is what you're looking for. As you grow, you make more money. That's also something we look for. Optimization of production or service. The cost model. What are the cost of materials that we get in? How much does it cost to get them from their source? How much do we pay for every truckload that comes in? Do we have to pay for boating? Do we have to pay duty, freight? All of the necessary requirements that many cultural organizations have put in place. Many governments have set exchange rates, cost production analysis for any materials that come in under duty. It's things that we have to contend with. Then we must deal with cost of production. How much is the production really going to cost without counting how much I'm paying an employee and how much I paid for the materials? What is the overhead? What am I paying for my building? What am I paying for the lights? What am I paying for the equipment? It all has to be considered. As we consider these, we can then determine if we're going to be able to make a profit and how big that profit will be. Our other optimization is looking to make sure that our profit will support our next venture. If deciding to go into another cost item venture, then what we want to do is we want to make sure that we have enough money to support that venture, which would be research and development. Our constraints are the amounts of money, materials, man hours, machine hours, again, factory costs, building costs, maintenance costs, everything that we don't normally consider to be part of production. Constraints, less than or equal to. greater than or equal to, equal to. We want it to be greater than what we expect because we are looking to make a profit. We want anything that is involved in our costs to be less than what we are expecting. We want our break even to be equal to what we're expending in fixed assets. Idle time. Idle time is a very dangerous factor. The more that we have employees that are not producing at a set rate, the more money we lose. Lost time in material movement. How bad is the traffic? How bad are the shipping lanes? How difficult is it to pull into port and unload the product that we needed yesterday? Not today, but yesterday. And it happens. Many businesses lose their customer base because of failed expectations on material movement. Customers do not want to hear that we could not get something because we have a boat sitting out in the ocean waiting to unload. It has happened. It's happened in every country with every business. Some businesses survive, some businesses do not. Production loss time. We lose production time having to have employees move around. If an employee has to go from one end of a building to another end to give another section part of what they've been working on, you're losing time. Runners are a good solution to this. When you put a runner in place, they pick up the materials that are moving forward, they take it to the next position, and production resumes, or the next part is added. We want to make sure that we have a smooth production run so that we do not have to worry about any of the constraints that would normally take place with that movement. Delivery. We decide to deliver, we want it to be on time, or we want it to be ahead of time. There is never anything that we have to worry about as far as the customer saying, I did not get that last week. It's how businesses fail. Many times in businesses, customers do not want to hear that their delivery has been delayed. It costs them money, it costs the company money, it costs management money, and then we lose sales. So our customers are waiting and their product's not there. We have to make sure that there is the least amount of idle time, whether it being from the input or the output. Product coming in, product being worked on, product changing hands, and product being shipped all has to move in a very organized manner so that it is not delayed. The mixed model line. As opposed to a single model line, the mixed model line has more product moving with more operations, more people involved, and a lot more hinging on how well we can get it to move and how smooth the operation runs. We have more than one product per line. We have cross-trained operators. Nothing worse than having an operator who calls in sick and not having someone that knows how to do that operation. This will come to a standstill if that is how you wish to run it. Cross-trained operators are able to move about the factory or the production or even in general sales and be able to perform at the standard that we're requiring. We want our transportation costs to be low. How much does it cost to come from port to the factory or from the factory to our customer? We want that to be as low as we can get it. We want to have as many options as we can with who will be doing the transportation. Same thing with our sales. We want our sales to cover all of our expenses. In the mixed model line, you have more expenses determined by the amount of material that you're moving through and the amount of product that you're running. The mixed model is a high demand compared to a single model. Tools to be competitive. Competitiveness. Competitiveness is how effective an organization meets the customer needs or want compared to the organizations that you're in competition with. Not very difficult to figure out. If we have a competitor offering the same amount of product at the same time and getting it out to different stores, then they are doing optimally as well as you are. If you can beat their product to market, be on the shelves within a shorter period of time, then you are being much more effective and you are definitely being competitive. The competitive market is one that you can enter in and beat out your competition while meeting your customers' expectations or even exceeding them. Again, we want our customers to choose our product over another's because if they choose our product, we make money. Understanding the game is the competition world of business. We have internal business and competition, and we have external business and competition. External, simple and easy, is the factory that is doing the same work, producing the same product, and getting it out to market either ahead of us, at the same time, or slightly behind us. Internal competition is a little different. We have the production lines of our factory. We have multiple factories trying to feed a single factory, or we have multiple factories doing different work and sending it to another factory, or even sending it to our customer. How we deal with that also deals with how we deal with constraints. We want to make sure that as we're moving forward, the various production lines, whether in the multi-mix or whether in the single mix, is producing the product so that we get very little returns, very little mistakes, and our customer is willing to say that we are producing the best there is on the market, because word of mouth is definitely another form of how we get the word out of our product. How marketing influences competition. Our competition is marketed. Our competition is marketed because we are able to see in either ads or on the computer what our base product is and what our competition's base product is. It should be a basic decision in the decision-making process. It is essential to competitiveness and, again, must meet the needs and wants to the products or services that are in demand of the customer. Essentially what that means is your customer sets the base for what they expect their product or their service to be. If you go into a restaurant and you tell them that you want a baked chicken with a side order, then that is what you expect to get. If you order a baked chicken and they bring you a fish, you are not getting the product that you were wanting to see. In this essence, once this occurs, you are not going to want to return to that restaurant because they did not give you what you were looking for. Operations influence competition. When we get our products and service, they have to reflect what the areas of our firm or our organization are producing. Are we meeting our financial resources? Are we charging too little for the product we are selling and spending too much for the raw materials we're getting? Basic considerations. Should we not be spending enough money in selling that we're also covering the amount of money that we're spending to buy? We want to focus on buying low and selling high, but we want to be competitive. We can't price our items over what our competition prices, because then we lose more money. In the supply chain capabilities, we want to make sure that we're getting our supplies in time. Those supplies need to be at the door in time to start production in order to beat our competition onto the shelves or out the door. If our customer expects us to have the product in a timely fashion, then we need to make sure that that product is there. And again, we have to meet the needs and wants of our customer while attaining quality. Quality is still a major factor in anything that is done in business. Special characteristics and features are always sought for new product development or even product improvement. Customer buying decisions are made by how well we see the product. If I get a product that's going to last, is very durable, and I can see a difference noticeably between the competition, then I am branding that product or service, and it has your label on it. That's the goal. When we do our D&D or we do our R&D, we want to make sure that the product that we are now about to produce is going to meet that customer demand. The idea of producing a product but having it never reach the shelf and never reach the customer is a waste in resources. Many companies that have folded have done exactly that. They base their resources on their R&D without a firm demand from a customer base. The practice is discover your diversity in the market, determine your customer base, and then begin building your first prototypes or begin researching if that new product will make it to market. We also have to take in time constraints. How long will it take us to make these products? How long will it take us to get them to the customer? How well will they be displayed once we get them on the market? If you get it to the store and the store throws it on a back shelf someplace where it's very difficult to locate, then you are not going to make a big mark on that product. Your customer will not see that product. You have to ensure that the product is in plain view and that the store that you are selling to or the marketer you are dealing with is willing to take the risk and ensure that your product is in a good location and you are able to notice where it is. If you walk in and you see it, then obviously the customer is going to see it as well. Quality matters. We want a quality product. It has to be quality in the materials that we get from our vendors. It has to have quality workmanship that we're getting from the lines. It has to have quality in the design that's going to make it last. And we have to have quality in the service that we provide before and after we sell it. Quality does not just end with us selling a product to someone. We have to own the responsibility to say, you know what, if it breaks, we did that, and we're willing to replace it because we want to keep you as a customer. Customers base that quality on how well the company deals with them. Many times customers will write in and they will say, I was very happy with the product that I received, and I'm very pleased with everything I've seen your company do. I plan to tell my friends to start shopping and buying your product. It happens. That's how we grow. It's a known fact. Many surveys have been taken, and that is one outcome that will always be on top. Once you have a dedicated customer, the loyalty base will build. When the loyalty base builds, they will begin to tell their friends. When they tell their friends, they tell their friends. So you're no longer marketing just to a newspaper or just through a flyer. Now you have friends telling friends who telling friends, and that customer base grows. If you can keep that customer base through a quality product, not only do you make your profit, but your company will begin to grow because your demand ratio grows. The quality of your product definitely determines your customer base. But then, why do organizations fail? We don't plan to fail. We don't build our business to fail. We build our business to succeed. In every aspect of the business, as we put it together, we are looking for people that can help us grow. If your company starts out with 10 people and grows to 135 people in 3 months' time, then you've done something. If you hire 10 people and 3 of them are doing the work and 7 of them are let go 3 months down the road, what have you done wrong? Poorly performing in the business realm will undo all your best intentions. We want to be aware of the things that we do right, and we definitely need to be aware of the things that we do wrong. We develop tools and metrics to prevent the repeat of mistakes. We want to put those graphs and charts in place. We need to be able to measure what went wrong. If we went forward with a product that did not have a high demand, but it caught on in the market and people began to buy it, that parts that occur. We have to be able to say, yes, we failed, or no, we succeeded, or we succeeded in developing it, but we failed in marketing it. How we market something is just as important as how well we make it. The core competencies that you set for your business, the core competencies that should be in every business, are the first measures that should be taken before any endeavor is moved forward. Figure out the talents, figure out the activities. What makes your organization different than the organizations producing the same items? What makes us a success? When you properly identify the core competencies, properly identify what works for you, then you're going to do extremely well. If you can identify employees that are going to be able to make you a better product, or that will be able to grow your customer base, those are the employees that you want to retain. You want to follow all of the guidelines that you've set for the company itself. and you want to stand apart from your competition. If you do it right and you begin to grow, repeat what you did. That's how you're going to continue to grow. If you grow and then fall back on the mistakes that you made or repeat the mistakes that you made, you cannot grow. You'll end up taking a step back, you'll lose money trying to recover, and you'll lose business because you'll lose the customer base, because they're going to lose faith in the company as a whole. If you neglect the operations and you neglect the strategies, you're going to lose money. You have to make enough to cover the cost of your business. You have to determine if your industry is local or global. If your business occurs locally, focus on local, even if you're selling in a global market, because the business is conducted where you are, not outside of where you are. If you have a warehouse in another country, but you're doing the work in the Dominican Republic, then that is your focus, because the warehouse is not producing. The warehouse is only holding for your customers. The same applies for the economies of scale. If you're doing the majority of your selling in the Dominican Republic and you're not doing the majority of your selling overseas, concentrate on your biggest client base because they're paying your bills. Outsource versus internal is pretty simple. If it costs less to buy the part from another manufacturer, do not waste the money to go and build it. But then again, if it costs less to build it, do so. You want to cut your costs because, again, you're buying low to sell high. You want a high margin between your expenditures and your profits. When you fail to take into consideration improvement on the products you already have that people are already buying, and you begin to design and build new products, there could be a turn in your customer base. Your customers begin to walk away because they had a product that they really liked and you moved away from it without improving it. Many customers will buy things, and if there is a contact number, they will call because they'd like to see that product improved. When we improve that product, we are actually extending our customer base because, again, word of mouth is going to sell our product. As people begin to tell their friends, I bought it 10 years ago, and now it's even better than it was then. Well, are you going to buy that? Most people would. You don't want to just move to a new design. Move to a new design, but remember the old. The old product got you where you are. It began to build your company, and now it is ready to support your company. If your new design is actually based on your old product and makes it better, then move on. You're able to sell that to your same customer base because they're going to trust that you have made a better product. We want a product that the customer is going to take a risk and buy, as much as we took a risk as a company to sell and make. Bad investments, bad choices in putting money in places that is not equitable to the company will undo the company as well. When we choose to invest we have to choose correctly. If we choose to invest in another company that may not be doing well or has a chance not to do well, what is the risk we are accepting? What if we invest in employees that do not produce? What if we invest in employees that have failings with the company? All of these are losses. A company that suffers a good number of losses then has the risk of going out of business. Most companies are in the business to make money, to make a profit. It's not just to serve a customer, but it ends up in two folds. You serve a customer because you're building a product that you feel that they will want. Once they want the product, then you continue making it. If you make a product, sample it, and then find that they don't want it, then that capital investment is a failure. And now you have lost money. So in considering all the ways to be successful, you want to ensure that your investments are going to be lucrative or that your investments are going to produce profit. Profit builds. Getting in or staying out of the global market. Many companies enter the global market, want to go overseas. They want to go in different countries. They want to increase their profit. They want to see to sell to another region or another country. When we do this, we want to make sure that our operating costs are low enough to take the risk of going into a global market. So again, we're looking to build or buy under low cost, and we're looking to sell at a high profit. Operating costs should fall in the middle. If we have fixed assets, fixed accounts, we want to know what those are. This is very important for our company to succeed. So, if we fall back on a break-even analysis, where does the money meet that will sustain our company but allow us to make a profit? Changing from national to international. Manufacturing costs that are lower than the selling cost produces a profit. If our manufacturing cost begins to grow above the selling cost, but the selling cost does not allow us to increase in the market because our competitors are 3, 4, 5% lower in cost than currently being offered, we have to then rationalize a way or find a way to keep our manufacturing costs lower. If someone is making a piece of the profit that we wish to enter in with, then possibly buying the components from an outsource is a better solution instead of manufacturing all the components to the end product. How we get to the end result and get the product to the customer is not as important as delivering the quality product and getting our costs low for the materials that we're getting in. If we can buy the parts from an external source, then our selling cost begins to look higher even though it's been unchanged. We also have to look at shipping. How much did it cost to ship to another country? What was the freight? What was the duty? What was the exchange rate? Can we take the money where it was, or do we have to change the money over? most countries will deal in US dollars. It is something that we base a lot of selling on. Some countries only deal in euros. Some countries prefer to deal only in their own currency. That's where the marketing research really becomes important. When we research the global market and we find that our customer is doing exactly that, keeping the money based on the country, then the country is making the profit, because we're paying the country the duty in order to move the product to the customer. If you can charge the shipping to the customer, keep that in mind as well. We always want to be able to charge as little to ourselves as possible. We want low debt to equity ratios. We want the company equity to be low while we have our assets high. In the end result, our net profit is always sustainable. Again, we look from shipping from point to point. We look at the tariffs. We look at duty. We look at freight. We look at things that are going to cost us more. If we're moving forward, we definitely want to make sure that that move forward is profitable. Entering a cultural market is very different. There was a case study done in the 80s to certain countries that labeled bottles with pictures. The pictures depicted what was in the bottle. So a certain baby food company tried to market into one of these cultures. Now granted, baby food fits all cultures, but you have to pay attention to the labeling requirements. In this case, this company didn't pay attention to the label requirements, and their baby food contained a large picture of a baby. And in this country that they marketed to, they took it as the baby being the product to be eaten. It is what they call the cultural snafu. It is not something that you want to occur. So immediately the product is pulled from the shelves and negotiations begin to take place, costing the company millions in US dollars. You have to have a product that speaks to your customer. You have to have a product that meets the culture. You have to do the analysis, you have to do the research to ensure that that product is going to be well received by that customer base. Failing to do so is going to push you out of the market. I'd like to thank you for your time for the seminar. If you wish this presentation or other presentations as well as classes or any other information, you can contact Giselle Mercedes at Suprema Qualitas office.